Hello everyone and welcome back to Bot4VC channel from Vancouver. Today, we will talk about a very interesting and also a very controversial topic that discusses whether outsourcing is ethical. Hopefully, by the end of this show, you will find the answer to whether or not to finish difficult work on your own at your place, send it for an outsource, or have someone, such as a robot, to handle the tasks. Okay, before discussing the question of ethics in outsourcing, we must understand the basis of this concept. In 2017, researcher Oberby has defined outsourcing as a contracting out which transfers an entire business function such as shifting tasks, operation, manufacturing, jobs, and projects to an external service provider, which could be an international company if talking about a foreign outsource practice. Let's say Apple has its iPhone's components made by different companies in different countries. The battery is made by Samsung in Korea, the camera is made by Sony in Japan, the A-chip is made by Qualcomm, which is based in the US but with dozen locations in Europe and Latin America, and so on. The components manufactured by those companies all around the world are sent to the Shenzhen facility of Foxconn in China for the final assembly before the complete product is shipped to different regional selling points across the globe. There are other examples of business segments that typically practice outsourcing, such as information technology, human resource, facility and real estate, accounting, legal, customer service such as customer support or call center, market research, manufacturing, engineering, pharmaceutical companies. Famous brands those practice outsourcing actively are UPS, FedEx, HP, Samsung, Nielsen, Nike, Apple, Ford, IBM. The question is now why firms outsource. We must find out the advantages, benefits, and the driving factors that make outsourcing happen. Researcher Bucky, in his article on The Balance, argued that outsourcing helps companies to free up cash, human resource, facilities, space, and time. At the same time, outsourcing is able to collect raw information and resources which are not available in the home country. It is apparent that firms outsource to save up costs from low labor, taxes, energy, production cost in the host countries, while at the same time they can gain business efficiency, flexibility, reputation, and marketing efforts. Outsourcing makes it easier and faster access to innovation, intellectual property, talents, and skills resources. Interestingly, economists often assume that the biggest factor that drives outsourcing is to help a company to focus on its core and main product, business, competition in the home country. I can name here several disadvantages of outsourcing that a company must be careful in its consideration before making a move. First of all, it is a bad turnaround time. In brief, outsourcing is time-consuming before, during, and after the practice. Secondly, outsourcers mostly experience cultural barriers in the host country, which are language, legal, perception. Last but not least, time zone differences and lack of control are also considerable. Unlike other practices, outsourcing also has its own challenges that we must consider apart from its pros and cons. The first obstacle rests on how companies can safely transfer knowledge to suppliers while at the same time successfully protect their intellectual properties. Investors who outsource in China have learned that the country has observed, acquired, and absorbed pretty much technology, methodology, and other intellectual properties from the investors, outsourcers, and offshorers. They know it, but they simply can't stop it. Economists also talk about an unexpected poor performance, bad treatment, and a lack of coordination between clients, outsourcers, and service providers. Hidden costs might occur before, during, and after the outsourcing process, such as R&D, legal, and time expenses. Companies those practice outsourcing also experience negative public reactions against outsourcing. Meanwhile, Government does not like to see the domestic market losing its development chances and jobs. One example is the Ford Motor Company investment case in Mexico. While the Mexican society blames the plant for making pollution that affects the environment, Mr. Trump's border tax pressure finally forced the firm to cancel its $1.6 billion investment. To answer whether outsourcing is a bad or good business practice, I would like to make a comparison between two common cases. A business that outsources to save costs for its profit that helps the firm survive to take enough social responsibilities under a legal circumstance that strives to create a win-win opportunity for the home country and the host country. So is this unethical? The question here is normally, why not get it done in-house? An individual who earns enough money to travel abroad for his own fun and experiences. He plans to spend his money on the trip that helps to boost the economy and tourism in both home and host countries. So is this ethical? The question here is again, why not travel domestic? Okay then, in which aspects outsourcing is mostly considered unethical? I have said that unemployment and environment are the two biggest ones, and we will go further with these two and examine if outsourcing is a good practice for the global economy or it is an unethical practice that should be avoided by the end. The first issue will be the unemployment concern, when society often assumes that the loss of jobs is an unethical practice. Economists disagree because short-term job losses generate cheaper goods, while cheaper goods cause more savings, and more savings equal more money spent elsewhere, and that creates new jobs. Stop here, where our unemployment is? Not satisfied enough? Let's talk about number, because it doesn't and cannot lie to us. According to Gary Giraffi, a professor at Duke University, outsourcing appears in the 60s with the proliferation of assembly programs in Mexico, called twin plant programs. A company manufacturing transistor radios or auto parts sent US manufactured parts to a factory somewhere in Mexico, where they were assembled with lower wages and then exported back to the States, the finished products. In January 2018, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics published its report about the unemployment trend of the U.S. from 1960 to January 2018, which can be seen in the following graph. The average U.S. unemployment rate accounted in 1960 was approximately 5%, and the average one from 2016 to January 2018 is only 4.1%. It is clearly a downtrend, or one can consider it a development in this obvious circumstance. How about the pollution and the environment that society always puts its best effort to go against outsourcing? A report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration in 2017 disagreed with this issue. Looking at the graph, the U.S. carbon dioxide emission from 2005 to 2016 went down in most of the business sectors like transportation, electric power, heavy industry, residence and commerce. Obviously, the truth is outsourcing has taken the CO2 emission away from the U.S. In conclusion, I am not saying that outsourcing is good or bad. I will go for it depends, because the essence of outsourcing is good on its own. Just the way we take the action will decide if it is an unethical practice or it is good for a nation or global economy. If you still struggle to deal with overload jobs, difficult tasks, or lack of resources and information but do not wish to face social complaints, a future AI robot with advanced technology may be the solution. This is the end of the show. Thanks for watching our presentation, and hope to see you again in our next video.